Dog TV is next on your station, KMPH Box 26. Bulldog basketball is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste, it won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Pardon me.
Bank, and by Mazda. It just feels right.
This is Bramlage Coliseum in Manhattan, Kansas, where tonight we bring you the quarterfinals of the National Invitational Basketball Tournament with the Fresno State Bulldogs and the Kansas State Wildcats. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Pizziak. Fresno State has had two emotionally draining victories in the first two rounds of the NIT. A 3-point win over USC and a 2-point victory over the rivals in the Western Athletic Conference, Brigham Young. Well, joining me tonight is Ralph Wood. And, Ralph, you talked to the players today, and they say, you better believe Selland Arena helped us in both those victories. They will not have the Red Wave fans tonight. So they say, we've got to go within to find that new energy.
Exactly right, Steve. I think they're going to try and rely on the survival instinct. This, of course, could be the last game because there are 5 senior starters on this team. They don't want this season to end. It's the best season in more than a decade. They just want to keep on playing, so they will draw from within.
And when Fresno State has had great games this year, their stars have risen to the occasion. And, of course, those stars are Carl Ray Harris and Seth Marshall, and they have to come up with big numbers again tonight.
Carl Ray Harris, just a steady performer for Fresno State, and he's really been hot the last few games. He's going to face the toughest defense he's faced all season long. Now, maybe Seth Marshall can pick up some of the slack. He's been doing that the last few games.
Yeah, Bulldogs assistant coach Charles Fisher likened the Kansas State defense to Washington State. It is that good, and they have 2 terrific guards in their own right, and Anthony Bean and Askia Jones, and Jones is a big-time scorer.
Askia Jones is their answer to Carl Ray Harris. He's the guy that they go to, steady all the way. Now, Anthony Bean is the guy who gets the ball to Jones. So Fresno State says, we've got to really look after that guy and stop him. Maybe if you cut off the power supply, you short-circuit the whole system. If those guys go off tonight, the Bulldogs could be in trouble. That's why they are spending so much time on them, hoping that that will be the difference in the ball game.
Well, we know one thing. The winner goes to New York City. The Final Four of the NIT. We'll come back with the starting lineups and play-by-play action of Fresno State and Kansas State. $1,500, and they have brought in about 6,000-7,000 for this college basketball game. This is their spring break, so the students are not here this week, but the energy is. As a matter of fact, they only had 5,000 in their last win in the NIT. 2-point victory over Gonzaga from Spokane, Washington, and their team was telling us that the emotion from the crowd was absolutely brilliant, and it carried them to a victory in a game they only shot 40%. But this is a wonderful defensive basketball team, Kansas State, who starts with a record of 19-12, and they go against Fresno State 21-10. Now let's listen for this evening's starting lineups from public address announcer Ivan Wilkinson.
Welcome to Bramlage Coliseum on the campus of Kansas State University. Tonight's third round NIT game features the Fresno State Bulldogs and your Kansas State Wildcats. Now let's meet tonight's starters. First for Fresno State, at a forward, a 6'7" senior from Airdrie, Alberta, number 13, Travis Stell. At the other forward, a 6'4" senior from Queens, New York, number 32, Seth Marshall. At center, a 6'9" senior from Cheyenne, Wyoming, number 21, Lee Mayberry. At a guard, a 6'3" senior from Fresno, California, number 11, Carl Ray Harris. And at a guard, a 6'2" senior from Provo, Utah, number 25, Brian Santiago. The Bulldogs are coached by Gary Colson. Now, the starting lineup for Kansas State. At one forward, a 6'4" junior from Ashburn, Georgia, number 5, Damon Davis. At the other forward, a 6'4" junior from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, number 44, Beldis Noland. At center, a 6'7" senior from Chicago, Illinois, number 32, Daryl Cunningham. guard, a 5'10 senior from Bernie, Missouri, number 23, Anthony Bean. And at a guard, a 6'5 senior from San Antonio, Texas, number 24, Askia Jones. Kansas State is coached by Dana Altman.
It is Fresno State and Kansas State. The Bulldogs have had a great deal of success in this tournament, winning 9 of their 10 NIT games. We'll come back for the quarterfinals here in Manhattan, Kansas, after you hear this. Bramlage Coliseum might be familiar to Bulldog fans as you see the officials. Keenan Stanley, Eric Harmon, Steve Morris, all from neutral conferences. Last time the Bulldogs played here, they won 60-58 in a game that was televised on KMPH right here at Bramlage Coliseum. Fresno State trails in the series overall 2 victories to 1. And here we go. It will be Lee Mayberry at 6'9", jumping center against Daryl Cunningham, who goes 6'7", 210 pounds, and he's a great leaper from Chicago, Illinois. 3rd best rebounder in the Big 8 conference this year. And Big Country Reed from Oklahoma State led this league in rebounding. And the opening tap is controlled by Kansas State. Belvis Noland and Damon Davis are the forwards. In the backcourt, we told you about Bean and Askia Jones. And we have a violation against Daryl Cunningham. And he is really their only low-post threat. And he is called for the personal foul. Daryl Cunningham gets his first in the game's first 30 seconds. Again, the Dogs have been sensational. They won it in 1983 when they beat DePaul for the NIT championship.
Steve, you talked about the last victory here. That ended a string of 17 home opening victories for Kansas State. Coach Lon Kruger still remembers that.
Where they had a Hearn Fieldhouse that was a marvelous home court advantage, and Bramlage facility is much like it. It really gets loud. They got it low to Lee Mayberry, who forces up the jump shot and then gets his own rebound and then has it restolen by Damon Davis. Davis is the guy who will likely guard Carl Ray Harris. He is their best defender. And down low goes Cunningham and battling for the offensive rebound. Davis, Nolan, Cunningham, half of the rebounds are on the offensive end. So Fresno State really has to box out when they go to the glass. Cunningham with the runner missing. Seth Marshall rebounding. Stell lost it low and threw it away. And Askia Jones tosses it off to his point guard, Anthony Bean. Missing the 3 was Damon Davis, and a whistle and a foul will be called against Kansas State. And it looks like it might go against Belvis Nolan. Their 2 forwards, Ralph, are only 6'4", but great athletes, very active.
They're the hardest workers, the guys say, on the team. They just outwork everybody. That's how they're so successful in grabbing those rebounds.
Well, assistant coach Bob Hoffman, who did the scouting for this game, he said the 3 keys to victory: keep Kansas State off the offensive boards, execute on offense, and contain number 24, and that means Askia Jones, because Askia Jones is the one guy that can go off. And there's Damon Davis's defense. Santiago from about 25 feet out misses, and a foul called, and it will go against Fresno State's Travis Stell. Gary Colson has not felt well. He's had a bit of the flu, wearing a sweater today because he has the chills, and he says it's the sweater that's brought him a little luck.
Actually, after the shoot-around this morning, he went back to the hotel and got in bed. He started to feel a chill and got into the blankets, kind of separated himself from the team.
So Bob Hoffman, Charles Fisher, Jim Saya have done a lot of the coaching here. They have had very good, loose, fun-filled practices. Here's Nolan dropping the basketball, and Santiago really applying the defense. That's a good matchup with 6-foot Santiago covering 6'4" Nolan, a forward. Harris going for the save, loses it to Jones, who then kicks it out of bounds, but it was last touched by Fresno State.
Both teams kind of struggling for everything they can get offensively. You know, Coach Altman told us that it's not unusual for his team to go 5-6 minutes without scoring a basket, but the way they play defense, they can afford to do that.
He only shoots 29% from three-point range, but if he gets going, he can knock down 4 or 5 in a row. Here's Carl Ray Harris trying to answer. 3-0 ball game. Wildcats lead it, and Fresno State has gone 2.5 minutes without scoring. Davis juggled it and then scored. And Fresno State down 5-0. This will be 40 minutes of in-your-face defense. Nolan for 3. And Kansas State is up 8-0 to start this game. Timeout on the floor. 16:56 to play first half. The Wildcats lead.
The San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich with fertile fields and a place where the heritage of hard work and the importance of family have contributed to its prosperity through the years. The Chubb group of insurance companies has been proud to join Buckman Mitchell in Visalia and Porterville in helping protect the families of the valley and their business interests since 1933. Insure your world with Chubb. Call Buckman Mitchell Insurance in Visalia and Porterville for the protection and professional service your world deserves.
If you want the unbeatable low price on auto parts, there's one store you should never pass by. As one of America's largest chains, Kragen sells over 1 million batteries per year, more than 700,000 starters and alternators, so we can guarantee unbeatable low prices on every part. Plus, the Kragen TriStar parts system shops the competition, so we're never beat on price. The parts you need, the people you trust, and unbeatable low prices guaranteed. The Kragen TriStar parts system helps you get the job done.
Online Connecting Point, the Valley's largest locally owned computer electronics dealer. What? Authorized sales and service with solid experience and know-how. When? Now and for over 13 years. A solid reputation you can count on. Where? Stockton, Modesto, Visalia, and right here in Fresno at Blackstone and Herndon. But why? Selection, service, and a solid history take you right to the point. Online Connecting Point.
Kansas State can beat you from the perimeter. They've made 212 three-pointers this year. That is a Kansas State record. I mean, they'll have their forwards take shots like this one by Belvis Nolan. They've actually taken over 160 more three-pointers than at any time in the school's history. Kansas State 3 for 6, and 2 of those field goals are three-pointers. And a steal by Kansas State, but ripped back by Santiago. Carl Ray Harris gets the roll and cuts the Cats' lead to 8-2.
We mentioned at the top this is going to be the toughest defense they've faced all year, and they're really having to work for everything they can get.
Askia Jones for 3. So that's 3 for 4 for Kansas State to start this ball game, and a 9-point lead for the Wildcats. They did not play a great game against Gonzaga, survived there, winning by 2 points. And Travis Felt travels as he tried to take it across the lane. Well defended by Belvis Nolan.
It's one of the last things the Bulldogs wanted to happen here. They don't have a sold-out joint today, but like they said earlier, they can put 6,000 in here, and it sounds like 12,000.
And it does right now, and they are off and rolling. A good start for the home team. 9-point leaders against Fresno State out of the Western Athletic Conference. Askia Jones. Boy, they are not finding him, and he is just spotting up and draining shots right now. And the Wildcats have extended the lead to 11, their biggest of the game, and Jones is fouling Carl Ray Harris. That is a third-team foul against the Wildcats, only one against Fresno State. Askia Jones, the son of great NBA star Wally Jones, who, along with Wilt Chamberlain, played for the Philadelphia 76ers when they won the World Championship in 1967. Inside 15:45 to play here in the first half. Bulldogs trail by 11. Seth Marshall trying to post up low, but good defense comes from Belvis Nolan. Stell is hammered as he took it low. And that goes against Damon Davis, the 6'4" junior from Ashburn, Georgia.
And you can just see the frustration in trying to get something going smoothly here. Everything is just a little bit off because you got a hand in your face, you got a body banging against you, and the Bulldogs are having a hard time kind of getting into their rhythm and getting into the flow because this is a terrific defensive team.
And they have executed their offense so well in their last two games against USC and against Brigham Young. And new into the game, Stanley Hamilton, a 6'5" junior from Savannah, Georgia, who replaces Belvis Nolan. Stell with the free throws cuts the Wildcats lead to 9 at the 15:27 mark of this first half. This is Cunningham. He has really been a scorer of late, but Brian Santiago dropped down and defended well on the help out. This is Davis working against Lee Mayberry. This is a smaller, very athletic lineup with Askia Jones, their top scorer, out of the game right now. Anthony Bean for three. Well, they're just killing them from downtown, and it's 16-4. 4 of 5 from three-point range for the Wildcats. And in the first two games in this NIT for Kansas State, they have not started well against Mississippi State and against Gonzaga, but they were a great second half.
You're right. This is uncharted territory for them. They don't have to come from behind. Marshall taking it up, and he gets a shot. So even when they do make a basket, they're paying for it.
Chris Koford comes in for Fresno State for Travis Stell, and Santiago will stay in the game, and Seth Marshall will be at the free throw line to try and complete this three-point play.
One of the things they wanted to do defensively was keep Bean from penetrating, because that's when he's so effective. He can penetrate and dish off. They've been able to do that, but the team is just so hot from the outside that the Bulldogs kind of have to decide what they're going to do next.
Brian Gavin is coming to the game wearing number 25. He's a sophomore from St. Louis, Missouri. And he gives it up to Bean, who's being covered by Seth Marshall. A little quickness given away by Seth, but Marshall does have the size. Gavin, good shooter. Shot clock is down to 5. Gavin from the corner. Missing the three, but Cunningham, another offensive rebound. They are absolutely dominating the boards against Fresno State. And Davis, 4-3. Well, they call it a 2. His foot was on the line. And the Wildcats go up by 12. Carl Ray Harris, nope. Rebound, Bean, stolen by Marshall, but then kicked out of bounds. Askia Jones will come back in to face Gary Colson's defense. And Colson's team being outboarded 8-1 to start this game. Now, even though they're a very small team, Kansas State was third best rebounding team in the Big Ten this year, Big 8 this year. I'm thinking of the future when those 3 Southwest Conference teams join it, or maybe is it 4, making it the Big 12?
That's right, and the big thing was Jones got a little rest, and they didn't lose any of their lead. In fact, they padded it.
Jones trying to back his way in against Carl Ray Harris. Cunningham can't finish. Mayberry taps it over to Seth Marshall. Only the second rebound in the game's first 6.5 minutes for Fresno State. Boy, they are active. They are right in your face. Carl Ray Harris with a runner. What a shot. But again, it was extremely well defended by Kansas State.
This is just something you can't practice against. The pressure defense is so terrific. Harris just really forcing it now, trying to get something going, trying to break something loose. We talked with the coaches about not having any preparation time or not knowing much about the team. And they said, well, it just really comes down to fundamentals at this point. Block out, rebound, and execute. Boy, a defense like this makes it tough to do any of those things.
Ron Lucas checks in for Kansas State. Leaving the lineup is Belvis Nolan. Seth Marshall will come out of the game for Fresno State. Travis Stell is back in, and they'll also bring in Devon Satterwhite. And Harris misses the leads for the three-point play, and a personal foul will be called against Brian Santiago. Well, the Bulldogs have had 3 3-point play opportunities, first by Marshall, again by Harris, and they've been denied both times, and each time they do that, they give the momentum back to Kansas State.
And Gary Colson's not getting off to a very good start with the referees. He's not happy with the last 2 calls.
Fresno State going man. Santiago now rotates over on Anthony Bean. And that will be lost out of bounds, and Fresno State will get it back with 12 minutes and 51 seconds to play first half. There is Anthony Bean, the senior from Burney, Missouri. They have 3 seniors on this ball club that went to the NCAA last year. They expected a great deal from this club and were disappointed that they didn't go to the NIT. They expected about 23, 24 wins from this team. Satterwhite traveling.
Oh, you're right, and they actually went into the NIT a little down, the coach was saying. Not sure really if they wanted to play. But the first game got them into the spirit of things. And now as things keep growing, now they're looking at a possible trip to New York, as is Fresno State, with a win here. And it's a whole new season. It's kind of the second chance season.
Well, Dana Altman admitted they were tense during the year. They had put the pressure on themselves to win and had a less than glorifying league season. But Hamilton with the bucket gives Kansas State a 12-point lead.
Well, the disappointment was magnified, too, by the fact they got such a great start. 13-3, won 10 in a row. Won a huge game at Kansas.
Yeah, they beat Kansas when they were the #1 team in the nation, and they were up by 29 in their victory over Oklahoma earlier this year. So this is a club, if they shoot well, they will beat you, and they will beat you badly. But they only shoot 40% as a team for the year.
The problem is,
checks out.
Yeah, the problem is they beat you even if they don't shoot well. If they shoot 35%, I think the stat is they're 18-3 if they shoot 35% or better. That tells you that they're doing it with defense and they're doing it with rebounding.
And right now, they are 8 for 13 from the floor. Here is Travis Stell at the free throw line, already in the penalty situation, so this could really help out Fresno State. Kansas State has already committed 17 fouls, while the Dogs have only committed 2. So they might be going inside and trying to attack that glass. Stell with 2 more free throws. And the lead for Kansas State is 10. Carl Ray Harris will defend Askia Jones. Jones fumbles it. Seth Marshall picks up the loose ball. And scores. And it's an 8-point game. Bulldogs won their last game over Brigham Young 68-66. They have won 13 of their last 16 games. 5 seniors start. Askia Jones missing the 3. Brandon Bakke, who checked in, picks up the loose basketball. So a little shift in the momentum, and the crowd quiet here at the Bramlage Coliseum. They got it low to Stell. Bakke for 3. Mayberry went over the back of Ron Lucas to pick up his foul. And that is the first against Lee Mayberry, the big center for Fresno State.
And you can see why they put Bakke in. He is the 3-point specialist. And it's a good call. Mayberry did go over the back.
Time on the floor, 11 minutes and 5 seconds to play here in the first half at Bramlage Coliseum. Kansas State over Fresno State by 8.
Style during an all-new episode of The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., followed at 9 by the science fiction show they're all talking about, The X-Files. The action's here Friday night at 8, only on your station, KMPH, Fox 26.
Steve Physiak, Ralph Wood at Bramlage Coliseum, where the home team Cats lead the Dogs 20-12. Bean, Nolan, Davis, Cunningham, and Ron Lucas on the floor. So Askia Jones, the leading scorer, is on the bench. And Fresno State going the matchup zone with Bakke and Marshall out top. Santiago, Mayberry, Stell down low, and Bean misses. Rebounding is Bakke. This Again, the zone, not a great rebounding defense, and Kansas State beating up Fresno State right now on the boards. Down low, pretty pass, and Marshall finishes. What a feed by Santiago.
Well, you talked about such a great defensive effort, and this is such a great defensive team. Well, they're doing it on defense. The thing that's really hurting is that they're hitting so well on offense. You got to think that they might cool off and come down to their average.
A 6-0 run by Fresno State. Dana Altman, the coach of Kansas State, was telling us many times this year, we've gone 4, 5, even 6 minutes without scoring.
Watch the great, kind of looks them off and whips the pass inside, and Marshall finishes it off.
You know, how many times have we seen that this year when there is a timeout, and you see the three by Kansas State, and it was Askia Jones. 23-14, but how many times where a timeout has been called, Fresno State has the basketball, and it's resulted in a nice run offensively, great execution, and a nice call from the bench and Gary Colson.
So they're going to need a few of those.
Oh. Cunningham. But the run goes Kansas State's way after Fresno State went on a 6-0 blitz. It's 5 straight points for the Wildcats, and the lead back to 11. Boy, they are so active defensively. They rarely play a zone. And it's out of bounds to Kansas State. Dana Altman is really hot after his defense.
You know, he was jokingly telling us that even in shooting drills with nobody guarding these guys, they'd be lucky to shoot 50%. I'm having a hard time buying that watching them here today.
They are playing well. Right now, 10 for 17 from the floor. Fresno State with 4 turnovers, and that's a surprisingly low total. Askia Jones for 3 is lighting it up right now. He is 4 for 5, and all 4 of them from three-point range. 11 points for Askia Jones. A 14-point lead for the Wildcats. Stell quiets the 8-0 run. And Jones does have 1 2-pointer and 3 3-pointers. It's a favor when anybody else besides Bean or Jones. And there's another defensive gem by Kansas State.
Nolan just took it away.
Carl Ray Harris is defending Askia Jones. 12-point lead for the Wildcats. Fresno State had cut it to 6. It's stripped, and Carl Ray Harris comes up with it. Ahead to Santiago. And Santiago threw it away, but Marshall picks it up and scores.
That was a great play by Marshall. Santiago actually had Stell open, or Marshall open. He decided to go to Stell, and it was popped back out to Marshall, who capitalized and took to the basket.
But the fear you have is that so much of it has been out of the Fresno State offense. I mean, they're not running a smooth offense. They're getting a lot of loose basketballs and putting them back in.
Yeah, this is not the game plan that Gary Colson drew up.
Askia Jones trying to take Carl Ray Harris, finds Bean, who finds the bottom for another 3. 7 for 11 from three-point range for Kansas State, and the lead is 13. And Fresno State turns it over. 7 turnovers. Timeout on the floor. 6 minutes, 49 seconds left in the first half. The Cats all over the Dogs. Fresno State's Diamond Dogs travel to Northridge, and then they'll be off to play Santa Clara at 7 o'clock next Tuesday. The Bulldogs men's tennis team will host the Boise State Broncos Sunday at noon at the Fresno State tennis courts. And this week in Bulldog Sports, of course, brought to you by Texaco, the star of the American Road. Kansas State 7 for 11 from three-point range. Fresno State 0 for 3. Kansas State's defense has just been marvelous.
And the offense, the Bulldog coaching staff is scratching its head over there, figuring, what are we going to do to slow these guys down? They never showed this during the season.
Bean, he was hit by Harris, but nothing called, and it was picked up by Gavin. Move it over to Nolan. Now to Bean. Dogs staying in the matchup zone. It's a 2-3. Davis got low, can't score, and Lee Mayberry grabs a rebound. Looks like Lee got poked in the eye. Marshall trying to back his way in on Gavin. Santiago does not have time to set up for the three, so banks it in on a runner going left.
Offensively for Fresno State, you just got to keep on plugging along here. You got to think that you don't leave this game, because this is a team that can come back.
Well, Fresno State can get their offense going. They certainly can win, because Kansas State eventually is going to slide down from 60% three-point shooting. There's Darrell Cunningham pretty moving on Mayberry. It's that kind of execution, I think, that worries Gary Colson. A 13-point Wildcat lead, and Carl Ray Harris taking it to the hoop, misses. One shot and you're out. Five minutes, 2 seconds remaining in the first half. Shooter from three-point range has made both of his threes, and now Santiago with the foul. Wildcats have their biggest lead of 16 points.
There's a look at it, just kind of throws the shoulder out, gets the call. Watch the elbow, pushes him off right in front of Steve Morris. He's right there to make the call.
Santiago with 2 personal fouls. He is talking with his opponent, and Travis Dell says, hey, your man is over here. Brian, get over. Get back in the game.
And I think the frustrating part is at both ends, they're not getting good shots, and they're playing pretty good defense.
And they're finding every single seam in Fresno State's defense.
Right. They're playing good defense, but they're hitting some terrific shots.
There's the steal. Gavin picked up by Bean. 3-on-1. And a blocking foul will be called against the Dogs. And Gary Colson's really hot. That's the 3rd foul against the Fresno State point guard, Brian Santiago.
Could have been a foul call on Carl Ray here. He reaches out and kind of tries to grab Gavin. But I think you'll see Santiago get called for the body again, kind of just edges him out. That's a little ticky-tack.
With 4 minutes left in the first half, Santiago likely will not be back. Askia Jones is fouled by Carl Ray Harris. That is the 16th foul against Fresno State, and the first against Carl Ray Harris.
And I think you're really seeing some frustration now on the part of the Bulldogs.
Timeout. 3:55 remaining in the first half. Kansas State all over Fresno State. 15-point lead on Fresno State. We told you about the talented guards of Kansas State, Anthony Bean and Askia Jones. They have outscored Fresno State's talented duo of Carl Ray Harris and Brian Santiago 20-6, 7 of 10 from three-point range.
And that backcourt ranked number 6 in the nation, averaging 31.8 between them this year.
Yeah, I checked those stats Where's Carl Ray Harris and Brian Santiago?
According to my stats, they should be at number five,
there you go.
32.5.
Those are home court advantage stats.
That's right. It was home cooking stats, right?
Stell, left hand, doesn't get the roll, but does accept the foul from Kansas State, and he'll be at the line after Ron Lucas jammed him. That's a second foul on Ron Lucas. It's a veteran-laden Kansas State team.
Satterwhite going over the top inside to Stell, and he gets hammered.
Very good foul shooting team in Fresno State at over 71%. And Gary Colson saw some late free throws almost cost them against Brigham Young, and Stell misses 2 here that could have got the lead cut to 14. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to play first half. Askia Jones in the corner to Gavin. He misses. Satterwhite rebounds. Barely got it to Carl Ray Harris. He'll take the 3 and score. That cuts it to 13, 36 to 23. And that was Fresno State's first 3-pointer of the game. Jones picking up the rebound and scoring and pushes the lead back to 15. And now it's Carl Ray Harris against the world, and he has hit back-to-back baskets with defensive men in his face. Jones is hammered and hit by Seth Marshall. And they're running Jones off so many screens, they're making Carl Ray Harris work both on the offensive and defensive end.
Well, the players were warned that this is a great screening team, very physical. And the Bulldogs were told to stay low because these guys set picks that'll knock you flat.
Dana Altman said this was the best year the Big 8 has seen since 1988, when his Kansas State team, along with Lon Kruger, their coach, had Mitch Richmond. And I mean, Kansas was in the Final Four that year. And there's Dana Altman. A marvelous job. He was last year's Big 8 Coach of the Year. Sent his team to the NCAA tournament, returned 3 starters off that ball club.
And with a win today would actually have a better record this year than last.
Satterwhite stepped on the baseline. Ron Davis will inbound and just threw it away.
Right here.
Right to us. 2 minutes and 28 seconds. It's a good thing it was a soft toss. 40 to 25. Wildcats leading the Bulldogs. Elvis Nolan comes back in for Askia Jones. Jones has had very limited minutes, and he's been the guy who's been rotating back and forth, and a lot of times Dana Altman has done a nice job with him, bringing him out of the game when his team has a dead ball situation and it's a defensive possession, because Askia Jones is not a great defender. Carl Ray Harris, with a hand in his face, almost made it. Travis Stell runs it down in the corner, and it's taken right away by Nolan. Inside 2 minutes remaining first half. Kansas State with the basketball and a 15-point lead. Blocking foul against the offense, and a legal pick against Ron Lucas. He was still moving, and he moved right into the defender, trying to set a screen for Anthony Bean.
Well, they'll do that all game long, and you saw him step in front of Seth Marshall there, and Marshall never had a chance to react.
So Stanley Hamilton comes in for Ron Lucas, who picks up his 3rd foul, and now Askia Jones comes back to take the place of Belvis Nolan.
Kind of surprised to see that. They had a chance to sit him down for the rest of the half and get him a good rest.
Yeah, but they will have the basketball on offense. And the way he's been shooting 3-pointers, get him on the floor. Seth Marshall gives himself an opportunity for one more. And Gary Colson trying to get his club within striking distance. They trail by 14 right now. They have trailed by as many as 16 in this game. And they are not shooting their free throws well tonight. Just 5 for 10. Davis defended by Satterwhite. Shot clock's down to 19. Still with the steal. Satterwhite lost it as he went up, and it is out of bounds to Kansas State.
Just been a very shaky first half. All the rolling up guys' arms out their heads, and they're just not in sync. And I think the defense has a lot to do with that.
And Carl Ray Harris going for the steal, knocks it out of bounds, so Kansas State will have it with the shot clock at 25, game clock at 1 minute left in the first half. Kansas State, marvelous first half. I mean, if they shoot 50%, they have not lost this year, and right now they are shooting 54%. And Askia Jones has pushed the lead back to 16. That ties their biggest advantage of this game. And we're going the other way. So now, and a technical foul has been called against Fresno State. Well, the Bulldogs hoping for a late run that could get them close at the half, and now Kansas State is taking advantage of every single miscue and may push that lead to 20 before halftime is here.
Technicals on Mayberry. And this is the thing you hate to see. A technical foul in college basketball really hurts you. But there's a move and pick on Lee, which got the first foul call, as Askia Jones misses the first technical free throw.
They'll have one more, and then it'll be Kansas State basketball.
Then after the foul was called, Mayberry let the referee Eric Harmon know what he thought about it, and there came the tee.
And the foul shots. The foul was against Mayberry, the technical against Mayberry. And Askia Jones, he missed the front end of the 1+ the penalty. He missed the 2 technicals. But Kansas State will still get the basketball, leading by 16 with 41.6 seconds left. And Dana Altman has just shouted instructions in. He wants to run a play that takes some time. Does not want Fresno State to have the basketball with much time to run their offense when they get it back. Hamilton looking low. Askia Jones misses terribly, and it is saved by Hamilton. Claimed by Bean, but it did not touch iron, so 8 seconds still on the shot clock. Bean now has to hustle and look. Fires from 3 and scores! Anthony Bean, a 29% three-point shooter, is 4 for 5 in this game. Carl Ray Harris, the shot will, they say no basket. The official closest to it ruled 3. The official on the far side said it was no good. It has been that kind of evening for Fresno State. Anthony Bean, who is not a great three-point shooter, has been brilliant in the first half, and he has paced Kansas State to a 19-point lead. Steve Physiak along with Ralph Wood, and three-point shooting has been such